Hello everyone. If you're here, I have a feeling that you've been sitting in the gym for hours on end, it feels like, and haven't been able to succeed in your Digimon World Next Order runs. Are you trying to find out a better way in order to train your Digimon and to pursue the greatness that awaits you in the digital world? Well, stay tuned and I'll show you all you need to know in order to get the strongest Digimon possible in Digimon World Next Order. That's right. You can achieve maximum stats, as you see here. It is possible. And the best way to do it is to completely ignore what the game tells you. The game tells you that the gym is the greatest place on Earth, and this is what you should do to the gym. Okay, well, mostly. The gym does still have its point. The training area is actually used in order to train up your baby Digimon, you're in training, or for whatever reason this game calls them in training 1 and 2. They will always be baby and in training to me. I don't know why they ever changed that. But anyway, this place is really only used for your very basic training for your Digimon. Or in your very first generation, you might need to do a little more here. But otherwise, do not rely on the gym. I cannot emphasize this enough. The gym is not the main place to train. It is not. So, what you do instead to train? Well, you can, feed your Digimon the, stat increasing food and train them in the gym then, and it's a little better. But no. That's not where you go. The way to do training in this game is battle training. There's a couple reasons for this. First of all, training in the gym takes an hour of in-game time every time you do it, so you are burning through your Digimon's lifespan while doing it. If you do a battle and gain stats, it pauses the timer. There is no time that passes while you're fighting. So while real time it takes longer, in-game time it takes far less, and you'll get far more done with your Digimon by battle training. So, how do we start getting into battle training? So, when you first leave town, you will want to make sure that you have stocked up on some healing items. You can very early unlock Tentomon and get the store started and make sure you have at least a few healing items when you first go out. For your very first generation, you might need to do some training. This battle training method won't work flawlessly for you because you just don't have the tamer skills and money income and town ready to do it. But once you're established, this is a for sure way to get you all the way from a newly born Digimon to 9,999 stats in all of your 4 main attacks. So the first place to go is if you come out of town, you head straight across the plains, across the bridge, veer a little to the left, and then go to the left here to the Night Plains Power Plant, or the Old Power Plant Way. Here you will find Goblimon or Numemon that are level 7. These are your very first battle that are usually good for stats. They will take most of your stats from about 300 to 550. For some of these battles, you will have to use your finishers, use your order power. There are definitely things you can do during the fight to help make sure your Digimon don't get too low health. That is what all the items that you stocked up on are for. But once you're done with that, you'll want to go to fight the BlackGarurumon that spawns near the Logic Volcano. To get there, you can go into the server desert and then turn left to go into Hollowed Hell. Or you can fly there from going to the Logic Volcano and then immediately turning around and going back out. He will be right there. This Garurumon will get you from about 550 stats to 700. Now, do keep in mind, you're only gaining, at the start, 22, 24 stats per battle. So this will take many battles. So you will have to battle over and over and over again. This does take some time. After that, you can head through the desert, back the way you came, head through the circular area, and go to the other side this time. And then head to the right, where you will find the Tower Road in the server desert. Or, once again, to get to this area, you can fly to the Aguino Wasteland and then backtrack from there to immediately enter this area. Now the BlackGarurumon here is the one that I almost always use. He's right near the entrance. There's 2 of them. He's perfect. Though what you might need to do to make yourself prepared for him is fight the Psychemon that you will find here to get yourself a little more stats to make him more bearable. But once again, you will fight them, and this will take you up to almost 2,000 stats across the board. Once you find your stat gain starting to dwindle a little bit, and especially if it goes across 2 stats, that's about when I decide that it's time to move on to another area. Now do keep in mind, with all of this battle training, there are some items that increase your gains for certain stats. I have found no way that any of these items will increase your stat gains in battle. They will help you in the gym. They will not help you here in battle. Not the best cooking, not the just feeding the items directly. I have found no way to increase the stat gains beyond 26 with the right tamer skills. So once you've beat up this Garurumon many times, it's time to head out to Mod Cape. If you go into Mod Cape, take an immediate left, go straight that way, you'll come across a large number of Seadramon. If for some reason you found these Seadramon too difficult, you can train a little bit on the Saberdramon in the previous area. But you should be ready now to fight the Seadramon here. And you will be here once again for a long while. You'll be able to take your stats pretty high with the Seadramon as well, and continually fighting them over and over and over again. But do bear in mind that you need to keep battling. Doing too much now of story mode will make your gains more difficult. For if your Digimon become higher stages by digivolving to champion, it is harder to train them up against certain Digimon that are of their level or lower. The game naturally penalizes your gains from them. So training as much as you can early on will help you a lot. After that, you will head into Faulty Ex Machina. If you go to the Hinterlands flight, it will take you directly to the area you're looking for. You're looking for the Orange WarGrowlmon that can be found here on Control Island. Now, do bear in mind, some of these WarGrowlmon have attacks that hit hard when you first come here. Learning to use the defense skill will be integral in using your combat strategies, so make sure that you have your healing items. If you don't have a Digimon that has buffing skills, make sure you bring along some plugins to get started here, because this could be a rough road depending on your team when you first come here. But continue to beat them over and over, just walking from one end of the area to the other, and you will be able to defeat them. After a long time of grinding there, you probably will become about champion by now. This is okay. There won't be any problems of becoming champion now. But you can have rookies with extremely high stats, and then Digivolving gives you that little boost. So, once you have your stats from there, it's time to go fight one of the best Digimon for grinding bits in the game as well, WereGarurumon, who can be found in the Night Church in Boney Resort. Normally, going anywhere in Boney Resort is a really long walk, but as long as you can fly to the hinterlands of Boney Resort, you can go right into the house in the back, and you will find him here. And his fighting spirit move can hit pretty hard. Again, if you need to, make sure to defend, use some plugins, very general strategies, and you should have no problem. Now here is where the main game starts to end. I will give a very brief warning here that there are slight spoilers about the end game, because the areas I'm about to talk about are not available. But if you're here looking for training, I'm going to give you the full training. So you've been warned now. Alright, so once you enter the end game, there are more areas that open up. You can go into the Infinite Cauldron, the Singularity Zone, whatever exactly you want to call it. Infinite Cauldron is what they call it. So if you go out of town, walk right in, you will find immediately here Wizardmon and Sorcerimon. These two, while still only being champions, are high level and a very good place to train. These guys are the start of the trend of endgame Digimon, though. They do have a bunch of status ailments, which are annoying to deal with, so you may want to bring along some status healing items, or just go ahead and deal through it. You will be training on these guys for a little while, though they are in the middle of a zone with two very long walkways on either side. So there is another tip I have for you. Once you have recruited Geremon, you gain access to the tent. Upon using the tent, no matter where you are, it reloads the map when you use it. Therefore, when you are in the middle of here and you've defeated both of the Digimon, just use the camp, cook if they're hungry, do whatever you want while you're in there. But once you close it, they will immediately respawn, and you can fight them again. And then you can use the tent again and fight them again, instead of having to run back and forth. Unless you have the runner skills and want to get some extra healing in, you can run a little bit as well to get that done. But generally it is much faster to use the tent here. And then after that, if you go a bit deeper into the Infinite Cauldron, into Layer 5, which is a long walk from going from the entrance. So if you have access to the hinterlands, you can go just back only 2 zones to get to here. And here you will find PlatinumNumemon, who will take your stats very high. He will almost always give you very perfect stat gains when you first find him. He's your first mega that you have access to. And he will train you up until very high levels. Once again, he's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Using the tent is a good idea with him. Of course, not required. You can run back and forth if you want to. And so, I mean, if you can beat PlatinumNumemon and finish your stat training here, you can beat the main game, no problem. At that point, your stats will be so high, you will be so tough that the main game won't give you any trouble. Even some of the post game will generally not be too bad if you use some plugins. But there's still two more areas you can train in order to really cement it and go for everything. So once you have beaten the game, you can fight MetalSeadramon. MetalSeadramon will not spawn until you defeat the main story. So don't go here if you have not beaten the main story. But if you go into the Concealed Gorge of Absolute Zero by walking through the entrance, straight through into the Ice Sanctuary, going down the stairs, turning right past all the Icemon and the Blue Marimon, and into that far room, here you will find MetalSeadramon with a couple of Yakomon. And this is one of your best training areas. This will take you well into the area that will prepare you for anything in the game. He will have a lot of status elements again. They're very annoying, so either just deal with them or bring along some items to recover that. It's an endgame enemy in Next Order. They all have it. There's just not much that I can tell you to get around that, unfortunately. And then finally, you have the dimensional... You finally have the dimensional rifts, the dimensional areas where space-time is weird. These are nice because time is paused, so you don't have to worry about your Digimon aging in here. And all of the mini-bosses and bosses here are almost good for stat gains until you are just about capped. They will take you into the 9,000s without too much of a problem. Though you will also find that in here, if you've recruited a bunch of Digimon in the post-game content, you will also find Digimon in here that can give you stat boosts or give you items that will increase your stats as you are looking to train. Though, throughout all of this, sometimes the higher you get, if you're having a little trouble getting into an area, like you first get into the WarGrowlmon Orange and they're just beating you up pretty badly, there are some things you can do about this. The main thing is when your Digimon are hungry, take them to the restaurant. Again, depending on who all you have trained here, Sorcerimon, the highest level one, has some amazing food for training up your Digimon. You can get all sorts of stat boosts. You can get life boosts to give you longer to train. Even Renamon has some basic ones that are pretty good here. The colorful mushroom stew is generally the one that I almost always go to for Renamon in the early game when I need something to eat. But if you have the bits and you want to take the time to bring them back here every time they're hungry, this will give you a huge boost to your stat gains. Some of these foods can give you 100 or even more to some stats if you use them. The restaurant is your friend if you have the money in order to do it, which you won't early on, but later in your training you can have an insane amount of money and easily be able to buy this. And that's really about it. Going to the gym, I mean, it can make you feel good to, you know, max out the stats by going there a little, but again, the gym is not your friend. You go out there to train, to battle, and you don't need the gym. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope this has been a helpful video for you. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more Digimon content from me. And as always, everyone, remember to be awesome. Till the next one, take care. Bye-bye.